Hi, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Well, it's time for the next chapter in our book, Ghost of the Moaning Mansion. It's a D.J. Dillon's adventure series book. In fact, it's book number 8 in the series, and it was written by Lee Roddy. So yesterday, if you remember, DJ and Alfred had gotten trapped in the tunnel. And they found out that all those sound effects like ghostly steps and moaning, they were all being played on a tape recorder. Then they realized that the housekeeper was in on all of this because they found along some stairs all sorts of radio show pictures. And she had been in the radio business before television came along. Well, then they got chased. And when they went into the next room, they found Grandpa and Kathy. Oh, such good news. But now they were all trapped until DJ got an idea. So, let's read. Chapter 12, Struggle in the Witch's Hat Room. At DJ's whispered command, Grandpa let out a long, low groan. DJ glanced at his grandfather. He lay in the middle of the tiny floor as though he had fallen. His left leg was on the cot. His right hand lay across the handle of his cane on the bare floor. Kathy knelt beside him, her back to the door where DJ and Alfred crouched. B.B. Swart rushed through the open door. Miss Harrington stepped inside, but held the door open. Her eyes were on Grandpa and the ex-football player who shoved Kathy aside to bend over the old man. Kathy stood up and took a quick step backwards towards the open door. Miss Harrington demanded, "What is it? Heart attack?" "Don't know," Swartz growled. "Hey, old man, what's the matter?" DJ was crouched so that all he had to do was leap up. At the same moment, Alfred did the same from the other side of the open door. DJ's arm chopped down, knocking the housekeeper's hand from the door. She jerked in surprise and stumbled over Kathy, who took another step toward the door. Miss Harrington, automatically drawing back from the boy's unexpected appearance, was off balance. She stepped back and fell across Swartz just as he started to jump to his feet. Alfred grabbed the door to keep it from slamming shut. Kathy ducked under Alfred's arm and dove through the open door. A second later, Alfred followed her, blocking the door open from the outside with his hip. DJ didn't stop. He spun around from the doorway, yelling, "Now, Grandpa!" Grandpa jerked his leg off the cot and shoved himself to his feet with the aid of his cane. As the old man started hobbling rapidly towards the open door, Swartz reacted. "No, you don't, you old buzzard." The ex-football player shoved Miss Harrison inside as he grabbed for Grandpa's legs. Grandpa, turning towards Swartz's cry, swung his heavy cane backward and down in chopping motion. The blow caught Swartz across the forearm, this part of his arm. He yelped and ducked as Grandpa thrust the cane down like a sword. Ugh! Grandpa gave the cane a twist and Swartz stumbled forward, his legs tangled. He tried to keep his balance. Grandpa flailed away with his cane, cracking shins and knees with his good will. He's just hitting him. "Try to mess with me, will ya?" he cried. "Here, have some more of this here Irish shillelagh." DJ called, "Enough, Grandpa." The football player howled and danced backward, trying to avoid Grandpa's flashing cane. Schwartz tripped and fell heavily against the wall. He made a whooshing sound as his wind was knocked out of his chest. With a groan, he slid heavily to the floor. "Come on, Grandpa, get out, please." Reluctantly, Grandpa lowered his cane and backed out the door, which Alfred and Kathy were holding open. "That there fellow's plumb out of condition, DJ." DJ howped Grandpa through the door, while out of the corner of his eye the boy saw Miss Harrington shove herself to his feet. She lunged for the door just as DJ ducked through it. Close it, DJ cried, turning to Haupt. 4 pairs of hands pulled that door shut hard. It clicked tightly into place just as Miss Harrington reached it. For a moment, DJ was looking through the small, double-thick pane glass window right into the housekeeper's blazing eyes. Her lips moved, and DJ was glad he couldn't hear what she was saying. "Boy," Alfred breathed, "she's mad. Never saw her look like that before." "No," DJ said softly, stepping back and taking a breath. "But we've never seen the real Miss Harrington before, just the ex-radio actress. Well, let's get out of here fast." He led the way down the stairs, followed by Alfred, Kathy, and Grandpa. The old man was making remarkably good time with his cane and bad hip. "Yippee!" he cried as DJ led the way across the control room. "I ain't had me so much fun since I was knee-high to a grasshopper." "Did you see that there Jasper, how he went down when I tripped him with my Irish shillelagh? That'll teach him to mess with me." DJ didn't answer. He hurried to the bottom of the staircase, past the control room equipment, and up the stairs where he and Alfred had turned back a while ago by the sound of the approaching voices. "I sure hope they can't get out and catch us," Kathy said. "You and Grandpa couldn't get out, and neither can they. Keep climbing. We've got to find a phone and call the sheriff." DJ climbed the stairs past the old radio posters and photographs, slowing so Grandpa could keep up. The old man kept insisting they shouldn't wait for him. DJ reached the landing where there was a single door. He peered through a small window and shoved the door open. Then he stopped. Kathy had been hurrying so fast she bumped into him. Alfred barely managed to avoid colliding with the girl. All three stood looking at a room full of strange equipment. DJ didn't have any idea what it was, but when Grandpa puffed through the door to join him, Alfred had the answer. "I know," he cried. "Holograms." And I'm going to read what a hologram is, in case you don't know, and to remind myself. Hologram, a 3-dimensional photograph recorded on film by a reflected laser beam of a subject illuminated by a portion of the same laser beam. Holo what? DJ asked, still trying to catch his breath. "Holograms. I've read about them," Alfred cried, hurrying to look over the assortment of strange equipment. Grandpa snorted and waved his cane at the equipment. "Now I've heard of telegrams and such, but what's this here hologram you're talking about?" Alfred pushed his glasses up his nose with the automatic thrust of his right thumb. "They're true 3-dimensional photographs. It's recorded on film and reflected by a laser beam, as I remember. The subject is illuminated by a portion of the same laser beam. Kathy protested. I don't understand a word you're saying. Me either, Grandpa agreed. But I've heard tell of them lasers. DJ didn't understand his best friend's technical explanation, but DJ understood what it meant. You mean what we saw wasn't real? That lamp that went across the lawn and ended up on the outside wall? The Chinese man's face on the tower balcony? Exactly, Alfred replied. Holograms. And that's how the light you saw on the third floor disappeared right through the solid brick wall. Nothing real, but holograms. TJ smiled and clapped his friend on the shoulder. Pictures, lasers, holograms. Alfred, that's just a visual counterpart to the sound effects. Right, DJ. They almost made me believe in things I knew didn't exist, and all because of fear. What I imagined I heard, and what I imagined I saw. Kathy shook her head in bewilderment. Well, you two can talk gibberish all night if you want, but I want to get out of this place fast. DJ turned to another door on the opposite side of the room. Unless I'm badly mistaken, this should open into... It does. The second floor. This is the wing where the boarders slept. We've just been in the end room that was always kept locked. I don't care about that, Kathy cried, glancing down the gloomy hallway. I know where we are now. There's a phone at the top of the stairs. I'm on my way, DJ cried, sprinting down the hallway. A door opened and light spilled out of one room as he reached it. DJ recognized Mr. Hatchett, the real estate salesman, still slipping a robe over his pajamas. What's going on? He asked as DJ raced by. They'll tell you, he called out over his shoulder. DJ heard a second door open. He turned his head enough to glimpse Mr. Grabnot, the promotion man in his bathrobe. The boy didn't wait for the man's question. Ask them, he called without stopping. He slowed at the top of the familiar second-story stairs, snatched the telephone off the wall, and dialed the emergency number 911. Please, get me the sheriff's office. Fast. And that's the end of chapter 12. Well, a lot of answers came today. And just as we all knew, no such thing as ghosts. Only a lot of trickery going on there. So, tomorrow we will read the last chapter. Goodness, it's such a short chapter. Well, we'll read that tomorrow. I want to pray blessings on you and yours, in your house, out of your house, in the day and the night, and whatever you do, always keep dreaming, keep a story in your heart. Bye-bye.